Hey guys, I wanted to show you something for a possible idea at your shop or garage for a heating source. Long story short, this is the outside of my north wall, and this was a window. I ended up picking up one of these wood furnaces sitting behind a farmer's acreage with a bunch of junk. I was looking at a tractor and he had two of these long wood stoves just sitting back there in the weeds, and he said if I haul them I can have them. So I brought it home. I built this little wood shed on the north side and graveled it, some cheap Menards bubble wrap insulation, and I took the plenum and just ducted it right into the window of the shop, and I'll show you that on the other side. But for all heating purposes, this thing has been phenomenal. It has a squirrel cage blower, and I have a makeshift thermostat, which was super simple to do. And I'll show you guys here in a sec, but I haven't seen a lot of these at people's places. I don't know if it's too much work or people think they're dangerous, but I absolutely love it. The Longwood originally had a fuel oil igniter on it, which means this would run on fuel oil or wood, or you could start your wood with fuel oil. And I have it, and it does work, but I don't want to mess with fuel oil or the injector, so I pulled it off and just capped it, and all I do is just burn firewood. So I'm actually gonna get a fire going now because it's a little chilly. But another little tip, there's lots of little YouTube videos on these fire starters. It's just wax and wood shavings from my chainsaw in a Dixie cup. But these little guys will burn for, I think I timed it at 20 minutes, 16 to 20 minutes. They work great for starting fires. And just phenomenal. And all I do in this shed is stack up a bunch of wood on a real cold week. This will last me about a week, depending on how hard I'm pushing it. I mean, I'm able to maintain 200 degrees out the vent here if I want to. Here's my intake. I did have to plumb in a return from my outlet to my inlet because I had a return air set up from inside the shop, but it was pulling too much cold air. So I ended up eliminating that. And then this room heats up pretty good, but it still wasn't quite enough. It was dropping my stove temp a little too much. So I plumbed a little bit back in there just to sip that hot air, so when it comes through the stove and out, it stays pretty hot. I did add a hand dampener, even though the stove has a built-in one, because I was losing too much heat off the pipe. But yeah, I mean, as far as a way to heat your garage or your shop, I mean, check on your local zoning laws, I guess, or rules about stoves, but this has been great. I got tin for reflective heat. This is all for reflective. I had more tin laying around, so I kind of shielded it. Everything on the outside was just used tin I had. And just kind of tossed her together. Use some expanding foam in the corners, and I mean, used patio blocks for a foundation, so this thing sits pretty level. Let that door stay open, let the fire going. But I'll show you how I'm controlling this blower motor. It works pretty good. Yeah. So on the inside, this used to be a window. That's where I put my little wood shed with the wood stove. And here's the plenum that I ducted through. I grabbed one of these little vent panels from Menards. I think it was 20 bucks. cut it down, threw it on here. With the angles, it kind of sent the air flat. And originally I had this set up as a return to pull warm air, and I had it ducted back into the stove. But it was just pulling too much cold air, which was dropping my outlet temp. So now I'm pulling the return air from the woodshed itself, which stays nice and warm. And eventually I was going to take this, duct it into the plenum, and then send air throughout my shop. But this does such a good job by itself, I don't have to worry about it. And as far as the thermostat goes, right here, that's it, off Amazon. This model, it gives you your current temp of the firebox. So I have a probe right back here, drilled a little hole in top of the stove next to the plenum, stuck the probe down inside. It's showing me that the air next to the plenum is 36 degrees. At 140 degrees, this thing's gonna kick on, and it's gonna send power to this extension cord, which goes to the squirrel fan. Then once the air temperature on top of the stove gets down to 72 degrees, it kicks the fan off. It's that simple. Now, if I really stuff this stove, it'll sit there and maintain, 150, 160, 200 degrees if I want it to. And that fan just sits there and runs, and it will not turn off until it gets to 72 degrees. So I have 140 degree plus air coming out of here at all times when it's fully heated up, working good. This has been great. I put these on here so I can yell at my kids to go out to the shop, see if the motor's running. So they crack open the door and run back in and say, yep, it's on. It's just an indicator for me, just to make sure it's blowing, because I have had the power go out and I went to scrambling because I don't want to get that wood stove too hot to melt things down. So I grabbed the generator, threw it on here, and I was okay, but I had the generator running the blower just to keep that wood stove from overheating. But that's my setup. Like I said, it works great. Aesthetically, I can make this look better, but for what I do, I'm happy with it. I do have the backup torpedo heater when I don't want to worry about getting this thing fired up and running all day. This is a wintertime thing. Now it's not wintertime, it's spring, but today it's 30 degrees. I'm gonna be in the garage all weekend, so when I want to come in here and be comfortable. It's quiet, that thing's loud, kind of stinks. That thing it maintains. And I am insulated, so that helps out a lot. All right, guys, I hope you like it. Hope to give you some ideas. If you have firewood and access to firewood and you like cutting firewood and you want to burn it, and you got a shop or a garage and you want to heat it pretty cheap, there you go.